Hello. So for this problem, we'd start out using Excel, and it's asked for what is the distribution of X? Well, this is just your mean and your standard deviation. When you get into ones where there's a sample, and then it's still the normal mean, but then the standard deviation, you divide it by the square root of n. But this one is not one of those cases. So it's just the mean and standard deviation. Find the probability that a randomly selected person at the hot spring stays longer than 74 minutes. Now, if we do the inverse norm and we use 74, it's going to tell us the percent below. So we need to take it and subtract it by 1. Now, you can either do it in the formula, so we could put equals 1 minus and then do the norm distribution, or you can find the normal distribution and then subtract it from 1. So I put 1 minus the normal distribution. Our value is 74, comma, our mean is 80, comma, the standard deviation of 18, and 1 for 1 under 1 is the total under the curve. And it did that because I didn't close the parenthesis. But there's your value. Part C. A park service is considering offering a discount for the 6% of their patrons who spend the least time at the hot spring. What is the longest amount a time patron can spend at the hot spring and still receive a discount? So we want below 6%. So that would be equals norm. Now in this case, we're given the percent. We're looking for the value, so you use the inverse one. Then you put your probability, and it's 6% is below, so 0.06, write it as a decimal with the mean, which was 80, and the standard deviation of 18. For inverse, you do not need the 1, and hit enter. And the answer was 52. Quartiles. When you're working with quartiles, you know how the 6% was the percent below and it found us the value? Well, you need to know the percent below these so then you can find the value. So when you're finding your quartiles, the box plot is broken into quarters. So our lower quartile, or Q1, 25% of the data is below it. Q3 is here. Notice there's 3 quarters below it, or 75% of the data. So for finding Q1, we use the probability 0.25. If you're finding Q3, 0.75. So we go here and put equals norm. We have the probability, so that's the second one, the inverse one. Probability for the first quartile, 0.25, comma, the mean and the standard deviation. Close parentheses. So that's our lower quartile. To find the upper quartile, or Q3, you do the same thing. Equals norm. It's the second one. Probability, remember the third quartile has 3 quarters below it, so 0.75, comma, the mean and the standard deviation, and hit enter. So that is Q3. Now to find the inner quartile range, you just subtract these. So over here, I can click and put equals A4 minus A3. So the inner quartile range is just the distance between Q1 and Q3.